Hi everyone, it's Lori. Welcome back to my channel, Lori J Journals. It has been quite some time since I have posted a video. I've been really busy in several of the groups and challenges I participate in. I've been doing more live tutorial style videos and I just haven't gotten time to make a video. So here I am. I am coming to you today as one of the moderators of the Savage Art Junk Journal group on Facebook, and I am sharing a new challenge of the month. So we are every Wednesday in the month of March presenting a word of the week, and it's designed to be a very simple and fun challenge that hopefully gives you a little bit of inspiration. And the only rule is that you create using, inspired by, interpreting the word of the week. And this week, the word is natural. So there's no rule to what you make or how you create. It's really just anything that you're inspired, as long as you can, share it using the hashtag #SavageNatural. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm going to back that up. We're going to do Savage Art Natural. And every week, the hashtag will be the same, only the word of the week will change at the end. So it'll be hashtag Savage Art, and then you'll add the word. And this week, it's natural. So as you can see on my desk, I have brought together a whole bunch of things that I was inspired by when I thought of the word natural. You can tell my color palette is natural, or I should say neutral, but has a natural feel to it. I have several elements. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm going to try to do it relatively quickly to show you how easily we can do this and use one word for inspiration to create an element for our junk journals. So what I did decide is, let me put my word natural aside because I am going to use that at the very end and I don't want to lose it. I'm going to make a pocket and a tag to go in it. And I'm going to start with these natural colored, they're just, natural brown color. They're that kind of raw, undyed kind of feel. And I'm going to use this base as the pocket. I'm going to create a tag out of this. And I'm going to use some of the elements that I brought to my table. So the first thing I want to do is trim this one down to be a good size for a card. And I'm going to go with 3 inches wide because I think once I have the pocket, that's going to make the most sense. Yeah. And maybe I'll use this to create the pocket. It's kind of small, but I like to try to use everything up. But let's see. All right, I'm going to decorate the pocket first. And I brought over this wonderful piece of eco-dyed paper I got from my friend Nora in a swap last weekend. It has some flowers in it and certainly screams natural to me. And I think what I want to do is just cover the base of the pocket with it. I think it's so pretty. So I think that's the first thing I'm going to do. Nothing screams natural like nature itself and eco-dyed papers. Oh, this is a little delicate and I probably should have been a little more careful. The texture from the flower and didn't do well with the paper cutter to make some adjustments there. But I've eco-dyed a little bit. I've done a couple of rounds of it, but not too much. And I've got friends who are really good at it, so I have not done a whole lot of it, knowing that I can get better stuff from my friends than I have myself. So, all right, I am going to sew around the edges of this, so I'm not going to worry too much about it being perfectly tacked down, but I'm going to start. This is what I always do. When I do these videos, I feel like we should share our tips with one another. I usually do glue stick in the middle to get a nice matted down finish, and then I use a little bit of either art glitter glue or tacky glue around the edges just to make sure it seals down real well. I don't get too particular. The glue oozes anyway when I press it down. And again, at the very end of everything, I'm going to stitch, so I'm not too worried about it. Okay. I'm trying to capture these parts of the paper, which I really love. And then I'll trim down after. And of course, I'll save all the little bits because those will create pretty little scraps that I can do other things with later. And I'm going to use my scissors because I don't want to tear up the paper the way I did the first time with the paper cutter. I tend to use my paper cutter whenever possible because I don't like when I can't get a really clean straight cut, but I seem to be doing okay here. Look at how pretty that looks. Now the big decision is whether I do it this way. Look at how pretty. Ooh, even a little bit of the flower is textured. There's a piece of the flower in there. And so I think I've decided, I'm thinking about this as I'm working on it, that I might want to use vellum or something. Oh, look at this. I have a tea bag here for this one, because I don't want to take away the beauty of the flower. But you know what? I don't know that this is sturdy enough. Yeah, I think I'm going to grab a piece of vellum, so please hold. Or even better, no, I have vellum. Didn't bring it. It was the one thing here's the thing though, now I'm thinking about it, like vellum is not natural. So I'm kind of bringing an unnatural element to it. But you know what? I'm okay with that because it's the only thing that's clear and that will ensure that I don't lose that natural. I don't want to lose the beauty of what's happening underneath. And I feel that if I use anything other than vellum or plastic, I will lose that. So let's just take a look at which. The flower is bolder, so it shows more. But I also worry that when I slip the tag in, it'll trip up on the texture of the flower. So I think I'm gonna go here. And I think I'm gonna even go shorter so I don't show so that even more shows. I got a little tongue tied there. If I keep it a little bit lower. Yeah, all right. So remember, I said there are no rules, and there aren't, other than you use the word of the week. And so while vellum is not natural, it allows me to see what's natural in there. And the other thing I would love to do, I don't know if it'll work. I have a hard time punching into vellum. Sometimes it doesn't like, but let's see if it cooperates, and maybe we can get a cutout that will show even more of what's under the pocket. Oh, it worked. All right, good. Sometimes the vellum tears. Even better. So now I can even see more of what's happening under there. All right. And we'll do, because I have the heart, I really don't want a big cutout here, but let's do a tiny little one, just so that at the top. And I think, I don't know if it'll take, but let's see if I can ink this a little, just for the contrast. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like when you ink vellum, it never really dries. But we'll find out, won't we? Yeah, it's a little better so that you can see it against. And I have recently been playing around. Sometimes when you ink and you don't love the way it looks, like either you can see the imprint of your dauber or your sponge or whatever, you can just take a watercolor brush with a tiny bit of water, you don't want it real drippy, and just kind of run it along your ink. Because it's Distress ink, it's water soluble, and you can just kind of create a more haphazard look rather than, you know, if you feel like you get a little bit of a sponge look there. All right, I'm gonna take this to my sewing machine right here, out of frame, but right here, sew this down. I think I'll use a little bit of a fancy edge since we're going with all natural color here. Okay, I forgot to hit the button for the stitch I wanted, so we had a traditional zigzag, which is just fine. Now we've got this lovely pocket. I'm going to ink that up a little around the edges up at the top, but I'm not sure how much it really needs it, but now, one thing that I might decide to do later, I'm not sure, is I have a little bit of this Distress glaze, which is almost like a sealer, and I might put a little bit over that flower to see if I can't mat it down and protect it a little bit. But it looks so pretty, and I'm also looking here that I wish I would have inked the heart, but I didn't think of it ahead of time. I think I can get, yeah, just so that it pops a little bit. There. Okay, so now I have this really pretty pocket. I don't know if I'm going to do anything else to it, really. I mean, this eco-dyed paper from Nora is beautiful, and I don't know that I really want to do anything else with it, but I'm going to set the rest of it aside for another project, just to clear a little space. And let's work on, you know what I might do? Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Let's work on the tag. So I want this tag to sit inside here. Okay. Let's start by just, I do have a punch that does this, but I don't have it handy. Okay, and it's going to go in here, and I could just leave it brown. You know, there's nothing wrong with this. I could also take some more of the pieces from Nora's paper, and I could do something there. I also have some of these paper, book pages for my friend Kim, and these are painted. They're not eco-dyed, you know, they're stamped with, but they still have a natural look, and I feel like this might go nicely together. So that's an option. I also have some of this Tim Holtz collage paper, which might look pretty. And the cool thing about it is some of that brown would kind of still poke through. I think I like that idea. All right, let's... It's all about natural elements. That's really the whole, you know, the word of inspiration is natural. And maybe you interpret it completely different. That's the fun of this kind of thing. Again, no rules. So you could have a completely different interpretation of that. And I still might use a piece of this paper. I'm going to set this aside. Let's get a little glue down here. I could totally pull out my collage medium and a brush, but again, trying to keep this brief and quick and easy, and I don't have that handy. Already got up from my desk once for my vellum, so doing the same method here. Mostly glue stick, but extra art glitter glue around the edges to help seal things down. And again, you know, if you sew, if you have a sewing machine, I know not everybody does, and some people have them and just don't use them. That's okay too, right? Different strokes for different folks. I didn't bring this up high enough. You can fix almost anything by sewing the edges. Multitasking, right? Talking and crafting at the same time. Who says it's easy? Like walking and chewing gum, right? So I couldn't decide whether I wanted this or this, so I decided to make sure that I put it down in the middle to get a little bit of both. I could collage over the back as well. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it blank for writing. Let's trim this down. And I will probably sew the edges of this tag. I'm not going to do it on video because I already stepped away and did that once. My crafting desk isn't big enough to have my sewing machine on screen, on camera. So it's right off here to the side, but so the brown still shows through a little, right? And I like this a lot. This looks black, this looks natural. I think I want to ink this up a little bit. Yeah, that's better. That's cool. It's almost like the original color of the paper is back. I like that. Let's see what else I've got here. What else did I bring? I know I have something I want to do at the top. I did bring, this is linen tape, Tim Holtz linen tape. I think a little piece of that might be, or maybe I'll use it as that. I think that's what I'll do. I can use it as the top of the tag. It brings the green in here. These all coordinate a little bit better now. Let me see what this looks like. So one of the cool things about a punch out in your pocket is to have something on there that shows, right? Otherwise, the whole see-through heart is really underwhelming. And now I don't know what to put there. Let's see. I have plenty of hearts and things like that I could put there. I don't want to put anything that's going to get caught up on the pocket as I take it in and out. What if I put the word natural there? Like, let's see. I think I like that. I am going to do that. I have to glue it down nice and tight so that it doesn't kick up when the question is, do I want to put anything underneath it, or do I just want to use the word by itself? Often I'll put a little piece of fabric or something like that, but I don't know that I'm going to look to do that right now because maybe a little piece of the tape. Now, I don't know if this is going to work because, again, I don't want it to trip up on the, on the pocket, but let's see what we can do here. I like that the tape has a little bit of blue in it because the word natural is blue. That's kind of what I was going for, pulling the color in. So let's see if we can make this work. And actually, I think I better put this in here so I can see where it'll end up. This is maybe a little bit too wide. I can trim it. I'll trim it after. All right, figuring out what order to do things in. Let's start by gluing the word onto my desk. Just kidding. Onto I think I like the wider one. Still see the tape. And I'm really giving this a little extra pressure and time because, again, I don't want it to trip up on that pocket. All right, so now I need to trim the edges of this a little bit because it's a little too wide. Don't want to put it upside down either. All right. You know, and I'm not really teaching anything new here. I'm just sharing my interpretation and inspiration for the word natural. Thinking maybe I would have liked to have inked the word and I didn't think of it till after. That sometimes happens. Oh well. And do I still want to do, I think I like the idea of still doing a piece of the tape up at the top because it'll match this down here, but I cut that one away and I feel like it's not quite long enough. And I do have another embellishment I want to do at the top that I brought over with the hope that I would be able to incorporate it for something. And I think I know what I want to use it for. All right, so I am going to put a little bit of glue on the edges that are going to go against the card. And that's tape, so it's sticking to itself pretty easily. Okay, and I'm going to take, looking for, oh, this might be good, just some scrap fabric in my bowl. And let me put, and this is what I brought over that I wanted to use. Last year sometime I did some foraging for little twigs and things in my neighborhood so that I, could use them as natural elements and things. I want to put a stick of some sort. I like this one. Let's see. At the top of the tag. Yeah, I like that. All right, let me just cut off this one piece. It's not sticking out. I think it's the right width. It is. And I thought I would, ooh, I had some of this. Don't know what this is from, but maybe like that. I don't know. Now I feel like maybe that's too much and I like the stick in its own natural. This one's cool too. I think I actually like that one better. And I think instead I'll take, maybe put some fabric behind it instead of wrapping something around it and just giving it kind of a, I don't know, is that too much? I don't know. Undecided. Let's see. Trying to play with all these different pieces of fabric, and I don't know if does it need the fabric? I kind of feel like it needs it. I'm not sure why, but I'm gonna go ahead and this has natural color on it too. It actually, I think the original fabric had hearts, but it has a natural feel to it. It's scrappy. It's white with a natural tan color on it. I can and then I think I'm going to have to use Fabri-Tac for the twig to get it to really stay down. All right. And let's make sure how I want it. Like this. I want it to rest comfortably so it's not going to fall off. And let's just make sure it wouldn't be better to have a smaller. This one's too white. I think I painted it for a project and didn't use it. I feel like it's too white. I like that it's kind of skinnier, smaller, but because here's what happens. What if I turn this over and try to write on it, right? If I'm using it as an actual tag. And the stick gets in the way. I'm gonna go for it. And you know Fabri-Tac, I need to hold this down, make sure it dries. It's pretty quick dry, but with something this 3D, just want to make sure it's nice and set. Okay, I've got all natural colors, little bit of, little bit of color coming in. This is gonna stay nicely, I think. Not quite. I will say that this is not a very thick cardstock, and with the stick glued on, it feels a little top heavy, so I might just double it up and glue another one on the back. I think this is gonna stay. It needs time to dry, but let's see if it needs anything else. I want to bring in any more of this. I don't know, it kind of looks misplaced. Just as a way of saying these go together. Maybe. Why not? This stuff is really easy to get off if you don't glue it. So if I put it on and I decide I don't like it, it will peel off pretty similarly to washi tape. Oh, sometimes it's really hard. It has a nice slit in the middle of the paper when you're using the full size, but I cut it so that slit is not there, and having a little trouble. Let's get my tweezers. Sometimes one edge is easier than the other. I don't know. Helps to have good eyes right now. I feel like my eyes aren't so good. All right. Wow. Always when you're on camera, you know? All right. May have gotten it. I think I did. Yes. Okay. Phew. It's a close call. Yeah, I don't know if I love it, but I do feel like it brings everything together. And there you go. Wednesday's word of the week for Savage Art Facebook group is natural. Make sure that if you join us for the challenge that you use the hashtag Savage Art Natural. And those who post creations using the word of the week will be entered into a drawing. Okay, so hope you'll join us. Have fun, be inspired by the word natural, and have a great week.